Definitely not the strangest thing you've seen floating around in someone's office. It's definitely got one in mind. So this is the same panel mount that I use to hold engine blocks, stuff like these here, to the ceiling while I 3D scan them. But in this case, I'm using this panel mount to show and illustrate how my V2 Elite all-wheel drive system will be installed on a car with a differential installed and an axle flange. So these are what I'm calling subframe isolators, and essentially there is another piece or another component to it that goes to the bottom, just like this one here, that presses all the way up about halfway to the base of a flange. Once that's in, from the top on all fours, the entire subframe itself gets lifted to the bottom of the car through the automation ports, and the upper isolator gets threaded down through the top of the inside of the car. Once this is threaded down into the base, it's tightened, and then you throw a bolt, a full threaded bolt, through the foot all the way to the top of the isolator, and then a threaded nylon lock nut gets placed on the top. What that does is it isolates the subframe against the bushings here. These are 95A polyurethane against the bushing to the bottom of the car, right? So this is your first barrier of frequency dampening. This locks the subframe to the base of the car through the frame rail, and then the bolt is like a Chinese finger trap. It holds and maintains pressure for the subframe against the frame rails at the bottom of the car, isolating the frame rail and the subframe to the frame rail, so that in the back of your car you get zero vibration when you are dropping the hammer or letting the clutch fly or doing some spirited driving or whatnot. But it also dampens the onset of power to the differential so that you don't break shit when you launch your car. With that, lower control arm positions here, pretty basic, just like you would see on your standard EG DC2, except for the lower bolts thread into our billet sway bar mounts, which I can provide a sway bar for any one of these. And these are hollow gun drilled sway bars as torsion arms that are also billet that go to the lower control arm out here, that allow you to tune the suspension of your car to your desired method, pretty much to custom tailor this entire configuration to your need. So this is a V2 Elite all-wheel drive subframe set up for a EGDC2. I am working on another one for the EF, which will be slightly different, but I also have a version for EK and EM1. It's great because this system is as versatile as you can possibly imagine. It is ultra strong, and because I'm using these frame rail isolators here to also attach the subframe to the car, it also adds rigidity to the back end of the car. So if you guys want to go out sliding your shit around in a parking lot in the snow, or in this case, up here in Virginia, in the ice, you can do that and not worry about the bottom end of your car falling apart, like some Hub City and FCS kits. Yeah, don't weld bars between your frame rails, guys. It will tear like paper because your car is a unibody design. This will not destroy the bottom end of your car. Will not. With the integrated drive shaft hoop, or half hoop as we call it, the differential is placed right in the center, allowing you direct access to be able to remove the hardware from this, to remove and replace your drive shaft as you need. And because it's a CRV diff, it's very, very light compared to a wagon. And you can still run a wagon setup with this, with our axles or anyone else's axles, doesn't really matter, with plenty of clearance, because there's nothing stopping you from being able to stuff a monster axle in there. So now you guys see firsthand, this is what I've built. This is what I've been waiting for. and the design, and I'm throwing one of these on my DC2 Type R with a billet wagon diff. Testing it out, making sure everything fits, and once it's done, I'm gonna go check it out at the track, go do some street driving, and show you guys what it's all about. This system will be instrumented. We're going to be using strain gauges on this because I want to see any kind of deflection from the suspension. I want to track suspension geometry and movement and changes, variance, anything that I can find to show this system is more rigid than anything that's out there on the market. So you guys can see, this is what I've been designing and developing. I was the first one to bring a modular bolt-on all-wheel drive system to the market. It took me a while after having so many people essentially take credit for our ideas, take our designs and our prototypes, but this is the best fitting system that I've ever made, and this is what I'm offering to you guys now. I have 4 of these here, including another, 10 on their way right now. So first come, first serve. More coming. Let's get it.